Hello, freelancers. Welcome back to Fort Tarsis Radio. We're on episode number 8. My name is Dorcius. I'm one of your co-hosts here, along with Adima. Adima, you want to take it from here?
Hi, I am Adima360, and today our guest is Lupo to the rescue.
What's going on, guys?
Lupo is a mixer broadcaster, and he has recently been covering Anthem, but he's interested in looter shooters in general. Tell us a little more about yourself.
Absolutely, man. So, my name is Lupo. I broadcast on Mixer. I've been building a strong, like you said, looter shooter community on Mixer, Destiny, Warframe, Diablo, Borderlands, and now Anthem. We've been doing an Anthem web show weekly for about 9 to 10 months since last May, and really rallying around the thought of building this community early. And it's been really a fantastic journey that we've had on Mixer. So it's been different than what people do on YouTube and stuff like that, but as a whole, I think it's been really positive.
Yeah,
very nice. Now, just like as a little bit of a background for those of us who maybe don't know the full story about Lupo, what got you into streaming, and maybe why specifically Mixer?
So my background traditionally is it's music. So when I was a kid, I always wanted to be like a rock star. So
right.
That's something that I pursued as a young guy. Well, actually, like in my teens into my mid-20s. So the performance thing was always there, and I always wanted to do something with performing because entertainment was just always fun. And then obviously having a passion for video games and things like that, this is a logical next step of that evolution. So and as far as Mixer goes, like I was interested in Twitch, just never really had the support at home. When I was going to get into Twitch, I started becoming a father, and I got a new promotion at work. So it just really wasn't the time initially.
Right.
Before like Twitch became this huge thing. It's you have many enigmatic figures like Dr. Disrespect and Ninja and stuff like that. People that have mainstream notoriety, that people can name off the top of their bat. So when Mixer actually switched over from Beam, I had friends that were on Beam already at that point. When Beam switched to Mixer, when they got bought by Microsoft and did the whole rebrand, is when I joined, which was Memorial Day weekend 2017. So I started shortly thereafter, and it just went completely heads in because I had half the gear already. So it was just like picking up the rest of the gear, getting situated, and then just rolling with it. So that's why I chose Mixer.
Very nice. Well, it's like really cool to hear that you're like there from Beam days too. Like
yeah, like I've had an account since Beam, but I never really was like into streaming when it was Beam. But I do have a lot of friends that were, OG Beam partners, so I've been there for a long time.
Well, very cool.
Interesting. So what was the initial draw to the looter shooter genre in general?
Well, I mean, I played Borderlands before I played Destiny. But it wasn't until like Destiny that I really was like, man, this is the games that I want to play. For me, it was more about the social aspect of it than the loot more so at first. And then you just get caught up in that like the loop of, doing the same things every week and meeting up with your clan or your guild or your personal friends. And just kind of drives you to want to do this, do the either the new activities or the repeat activities every week to hunt that gear. And like there's few better feelings in gaming than like getting the perfect drop. Like when Destiny was the biggest thing, you see people like Professor Broman getting their Yallarhorn dropping for the first time, and it's like that triumphant moment. So like that's what drives me to loot games.
Oh yeah, it's like, see that we all have an inner loot goblin that like just
absolutely
wants you to have like, I need that drop. Like we all have it. So
or the other loot goblins in the party that take all your loot.
Yeah. Thankfully, I love that. Like, no, we don't share the loot. Thank God.
Yeah. So like, I mean, that was the interesting thing about like Borderlands, because I didn't realize Borderlands was a real like deep dive loot game until Destiny came out. So I go back and start, trying to play with other people on Mixer, because Mixer is very community oriented and interactive, where, you might not have 100 to 200, 300, 1,000 people in your chats, but you have the 15 to 20 that want to connect with you personally, you know. And I always encourage, you know, people playing, as long as we're not doing like some sort of squad activity. So especially at Borderlands, like people are like, all right, I'm OP8. I know you're just restarting this game. Let's go get loot. So they just give you all the stuff. So even if you can't use it at that point at a level 5, you know, you can get the money for it at least.
Right.
So I mean, it's been really fun, and I think loot games really inspires other people to want to be part of a bigger community.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, and I can see that, like, from seeing what you've been doing too. And kind of going into that, one of the things I noticed is that you kind of also describe yourself as an infotainer.
Yeah.
What kind of drew you towards doing that, as opposed
actually,
to
like, it started with me with Destiny. You can see a very reoccurring theme here.
Right.
So like when Destiny 2 launched, it wasn't in the greatest of places. A lot of people weren't happy with the state of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the first expansion, people just completely were turned off and left the game. I was one of the few people continuing to play it because I enjoyed it. It was a really great game. I'd already invested a lot of time and money into the franchise in itself, and people weren't realizing what was going on in the game. So that's why every week, like with what I do with my web show with Anthem, we were doing almost on a weekly basis with Destiny. And you know, every week we'd say, hey, look, like this is what's coming. You know, if I know you haven't played Destiny since launch, but here's the new things, and this is what you can look forward to. There's the new updates. They're listening to our feedback, and like I feel like it's my job to bring that to the greater community of Destiny. You know, and that passion and the way people were so excited to hear the new information every week was what drew me to doing it with Anthem as well.
Oh, very cool. And I will say, like, I will raise my hand and say, yeah, please keep doing that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's definitely a project of passion. Like, I will take the time to find all the information, and if people are willing to listen, I'll be there to, you know, further distribute.
Yeah, and to give BioWare like a ton of credit, they have done a better job communicating than most studios have ever done.
This early, yes.
Like,
oh yeah.
Even Bungie has its stumbles to this day, but like they've gotten better over the years. But
yeah,
they could be better.
Right.
You know, we had the opportunity to sit down with Jesse, the community manager, when we were at PAX a few weeks ago, and I said that to him. I was like, look, like you guys are in a place of privilege right now. Seeing how all the other community managers have you know, really set up their communities. Like you said, Destiny started off pretty bad at first, and then had to constantly just add more CMs into their team to accommodate how large the community became at that point. But look at Hamish Bode with Division, Rebecca and Megan with Warframe. It's a huge thing now where if you're playing a loot game and a community-driven game, you have to have people that are on the forefront of doing these things. Jesse and AJ have both done really good jobs. On top of the fact that all of the producers in the game have been there, and the game director John Warner. So we don't know how active they'll be post-launch. You know, so it'll be interesting to see once the dust settles from launch.
Yeah, definitely agree with that, especially since, well, part of it is some of them are moving on to other projects already.
Yeah,
and then.
Well, I think we saw that this week. Like Gamble even said it, that, you know, your point of context are going to be Ben and Chad, because they're the Austin team. So it seems like the Austin team is more adept at running a live service, like they've been doing with SWTOR for the last however many years. And people like Gamble and Dara are going to be moving on to their projects. So, like, you know, Dara is on Dragon Age, and I think Gamble's going to be working on the early workings of the next Mass Effect.
Right. So it's like, not that you shouldn't listen to those people, but maybe don't ping them all the time about Anthem stuff.
Yeah. Exactly. But it's a completely different beast once the game goes into live service, you know, because there's separate teams already working on the next iteration of what we're going to be, you know, what we're going to be consuming, you know. So we have a 90-day content schedule at this point. Well, it's a rough content schedule. Like 30 days, they were pretty good to give us, but I mean, 2 months from now, you don't know what the game's going to look like.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, at least they give us like a decent idea of saying like, hey, we have a good cadence of content planned for you guys, and here's like the rough gist of it.
Right. And thankfully, there's a nice asterisk up there for them. Like,
this
is subject to change. like this is the plan, we're gonna alter the plan depending on what happens.
Well, and that's part of the reason why they don't have any dates on anything.
Right.
Like, it's just like, this is what we plan on having, but the dates are not definitive yet.
Yeah.
Right. Just like sometime in this 31-day span, this could happen. It's like a lot. It's a nice. I wish like I could actually have a schedule like that, like real life. Like, we'll make it work sometime in this frame. Like,
I'm like a stickler for schedules. Like, I schedule my streams like a month and a half in advance. Like, I've like this whole like road to launch thing.
Right.
Was I set this in end of January. Like, this is every stream I'm gonna do for the next month. Like, knowing what we're gonna get up to, because as a live streamer, like, some people aren't going to get into every game that you play,
Right.
and you have to be realistic with that. You can't sit there as a smaller content creator and trying to grow a community, like, harp on one game, because people might get bored of it. So I had to show my community that, like, I'm committed to the variety beyond just Anthem, so like,
right.
Within the next week or so, we're gonna switch back to Destiny because they have new content coming out, and we're gonna go back to Warframe because they have new content coming out. And
right.
I'm interested in checking out Diablo Immortal, as much as a lot of people are saying, hey, I don't want to play a mobile Diablo game. It's still something that interests me because it's a loot game, and like, now I can play it when I'm on the go or on the toilet, whichever one you
right.
you are considering.
And Division 2 is coming out next month as well.
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
I think I'm you know what, I'm the guy that's cautiously optimistic about it, because I played the private beta, and at first I was like, man, this is awesome. And then once you put your 10-12 hours into it, you're like, I kind of understand why I didn't really like the first one as much, So every game isn't for every person. I think people need to learn to understand that if I enjoy Anthem or I enjoy Destiny, it doesn't mean that you're going to, or nor that you have to either.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great distinction to make.
Speaking to the Division 2, I kind of was the opposite, where like, I didn't enjoy any of the beginning at first, because like the grind isn't that fun. Like, you're kind of waiting for the one perfect gun that fits your specific play style.
Yep.
And then like, and if you aren't getting that, it's just not a great experience. But when you could, once you beat, I guess, the main portion of the demo that they wanted you to do, and you could play the end game contents, that was a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Right.
I definitely agree with that to a certain extent. Because I like the problem. Like, I had the issues afterwards. So like, my first 4 to 6 hours, I had like no problems, and then after that, I had all the audio bugs and all that kind of stuff. So that's when I was just like, all right, I'm
right.
now. So the newness kind of wore off a little bit, because when you play, like, I was looking forward to Anthem for years and years and years. Like, they first showed it to us at E3 2014. They kind of just gave us a glimpse of a new BioWare IP. It wasn't
right.
really named or anything like that, or we didn't really know the concepts. But E3 2017, I was ready. Like, you're giving me a loot game by the guys who made Mass Effect. I'm sold. I don't even need to know what else is going on. I'm already invested. So to have the demos come out, and then you say, what am I going to do for the next 2 weeks before this game launches? And that's Division did that good for me for the weekend. The newness of the Division for that weekend was very good and refreshing, and then it kind of wore off on me.
So I got to ask, because you said that the 2 weeks, you're also playing on console?
Yeah. So
Same here.
I don't know how I'm going to proceed moving forward, because the day one patch kind of messed a lot of things up for PC, to
Gotcha.
where it's substantially more demanding now. And I thought they were going to fix some of that with the last patch, and it actually made things a little bit worse, which I found kind of interesting. So while I was able to play and stream at the same time pretty comfortably the first couple of days after the patch, started to see some issues.
Like, what kind of things have you been experiencing?
Just with the patch, like, I start getting stuttering because
okay.
I don't run a 2 PC setup right now, because just
right.
bills and other things. It's not financially feasible for everybody, So I was splitting the cores on my PC. So like, if you're not PC savvy, I have a 6-core PC CPU. With Anthem running on PC, I dedicated 3 of the cores to the game and 3 of the cores to my streaming software. And for the first few days, it actually worked really well. Once the patch went in, I started stuttering a lot and having some hitching issues, and I just didn't want to output that quality. Like I could deal with that on a personal level as I was just playing the game, but the game by itself runs fine. If I'm not streaming, it runs perfectly fine. But if I'm trying to display that to my viewers and my audience, it's not indicative of the quality level that I want to present to people.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But besides that, like it smoothed a lot of other things out. So like I did play it not streaming, and it seemed pretty good. But
cool.
Whatever it did, whether it's utilizing the multi-core system a little bit better now, it really ruins it for people that were trying to stream and game at the same time.
Yeah.
That's like one of the reasons I went to console too.
And I was
consoles where all my friends are.
There.
Sorry, Adima.
on PC, like I had a like before my computer killed itself, I had a 1060, and like you could do medium quality and record, but the frame rate would still jump, and then so like for a streaming experience, I don't think that'd be good at all.
No. Well, see, like anything above 60 is fine. It's just when you start going below 60 is when you have an issue, because no streaming service you can see above 60. Mm-hmm. So YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, everything caps at 60. So even if I can see the game higher than 60, you can't see it as I'm broadcasting. So as long as I'm not dropping under 60 is when you start seeing it. Even I technically don't think that the eye can really differentiate much difference above 60. If I remember correctly, like I remember people telling me this.
At least mine can't.
I can't really see a drastic difference.
So
like from 60 to 120, you can't see a huge difference.
Right.
So if you're trying to output at 60, people are fine. But the second it starts dropping below that, it's noticeable. 60 to 55 is very noticeable.
Yep. Just like I can like always count on somebody to be like, hey, did you lower frames? I'm like, no, maybe. Let's check on that.
And I think like the large misconception with people that don't play on PC is the resolution versus frame rate. So people like say, oh, 4K, I want 4K, but realistically, you'd rather have 1080 at 60 rather than 4K at 30 any day of the week. And hopefully console catches up. Like on console, they do have some games that run at high resolution and high frame, but it's a few games. A lot of high res games do that, like Paladins and stuff. But people don't appreciate it until you're there. But once you see the 60 frames, it's hard to unsee it.
Oh yeah. Like I used to be that person that was like, I can't tell the difference when I was playing Destiny 2 on console, and then on PC I was like, holy crap! Like you guys
dramatic.
You weren't lying. Like, this is different, So it is possible.
Well, part of the problem with the console is like, even though it's locked at 30, sometimes it drops just a little tiny bit. So like 29,
large areas of particle effect,
and you notice those things more. Because of it.
It's like it's still going to be intensive no matter where it is. So.
Oh yes.
So, beyond the some of the issues with the patch, have you been enjoying it since we're like technically 3 days in?
Yeah, well, I mean, I had Origin Access Premiere, so
right. Okay, perfect.
Over a week, so I've been playing 10 days or so on PC, give or take. PC from the get-go was zero issue until the day one patch for me, and like I said, I had my little bit of issues. Almost no connectivity issues. Didn't get disconnected from any squads. The biggest issue I had initially was the tethering issue. So if you were too far away from your squad, it was like almost instantaneous that it would start getting ready to teleport you. So they made that a little bit more lenient, which has been good. But I logged in at 10 a.m. Eastern time, day one, got in, was screwing around with my key bindings because I don't use a keyboard. I use a gamepad, which is a little bit different than what most people do. So I had to remap all my keys, and by the time I finished, it kicked me out. So I had to start the whole opening cinematic over again. So then it took me about 20 minutes to get back in. But from a half hour after launch to 6 hours later, I was fine. Nothing, no issues.
Cool. Very cool.
Xbox is a different story.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like it's just more server issues than anything else.
Gotcha.
Because they're worried about third-party networks. So PC is all EA stuff. They're worried about connectivity with Xbox's servers and stuff on
Right.
Xbox. So you can understand that it's going to happen, but
right.
With the way the demo, I didn't have a lot of issues in the demo either. The first demo I had issues with. The second one I didn't at all.
Right. I think I had like less issues around the second time. Like the only all the issues I've seen really haven't happened to me personally besides the audio dropping.
Yeah.
It was just like we always had one person or another that couldn't connect as a party, and it was like, all right, well, let's just keep trying it again. But
yep.
Beyond that, I think I had similar impressions too.
Yeah, they've done a good job of trying to mitigate and fix a lot of these issues.
Yeah, I think they've been really good with the transparency of it too, and saying, hey, look, this is the reason why things are happening, or this is what we're doing to work on these particular issues. I know a lot of people feel the certain entitlement of expecting some sort of compensation for it, but I think giving us the extra vinyl from the issues we had with the first demo was definitely a nice gesture of good faith on their part. I don't think they really need to do anything else more.
Right.
People need to learn, like in this day and age, like it's not as easy or cut and dry to put a live service game into the wild than what they expect it to be. People want to complain about the load times, but I mean, Destiny load times were atrocious at launch. Destiny 2, absolutely awful. It's just the problem. Like you see other things. You're not looking at a load screen with a bar going across. You're looking at your ship in space or floating in orbit. But I mean, some of those orbit times on Destiny 2 were 5 minutes more.
Yeah. I still have some of those load times.
Right? And I mean, I didn't notice the load time issues until I went to console. PC, I never had more than like a minute tops. But once you went to console, it was like, a good 2 minutes loading for a a match made activity or something like that. But that's being nitpicky. That's being nitpicky.
Right.
But I will say that it seems like it's almost a tale of two games here, that some people are experiencing issues that others are not, because I haven't had many issues, like I said before, but other people that I speak to have had tons of issues, still having the 95% loading screen, still having the audio dropout at high intensity. So
right. And I kind of wonder about that too, because I'm in that similar boat where I scroll through feeds and hear people talking about this. I'm like, did I download the right game?
That's what I'm saying. It's been a really interesting point of contention.
Yeah, and you gotta feel bad that they're having all these issues as well.
Yeah,
they're just trying to enjoy a game that they're probably just as passionate about as well.
Yeah, and like I said, I've been talking about this with my friend Wade from WiLLiSGaming Gaming. We've been following this game basically since they announced it. Like I looked at him when we saw the announcement, and like we've been best friends ever since about this whole situation, because we both Destiny players, huge BioWare fans, and we feel almost like we have to be champions. Like, I have to help people out with the issues of it, and like it's not on us, but as champions of the community, you have a certain personal expectation of yourself to say, hey, look, like if this is the issue that you're having, you might want to try this or do this, and like I've been trying to help people walk through things, but some issues are just above my level of knowledge or expertise.
Right. And I think maybe that's actually a good point to make for everybody. Like, if you're not having these issues, even if it's just like some reassurance or finding a way to help other people, that's a good reinforcement of the community too. To just be like, hey guys, like, I know you're having this issue. Have you maybe tried this or this or this? Because yeah, it sucks when you can't enjoy that thing you want to be passionate about. But the more that you have folks like Lupo or even Adema and I, that if we can like be there to help you with something, we'll try. We will certainly try.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I'm even gonna work on is eventually getting to the level where I pull in people and help them accomplish GM1, 2, or 3, whatever they need. Like I'm just now entering the GM2 stage on the PC. I just started on console, but like that things like that to help the community and help, I don't know, build morale.
Yeah,
always helps.
I think that's the ultimate goal, like once everyone's leveled up and everything like that, like, and I think that's one of the best things they've done about this particular system is that even if you're doing lower stuff, you're rewarded for helping people, and I think that's extremely positive as well.
Oh yeah.
I think more games in this genre or of similar vein need to do more things like that. Like I understand Borderlands is pretty easy because you can give gear to people. Same thing with Diablo, but Destiny and well even Warframe. Warframe is more so like that because you can just get your materials and stuff because it's so so reliant on crafting and stuff like that playing lower level missions and helping people is integral to your future your future game. So I think if you're a fan of any sort of loot game, you look at Anthem and say, hey, they're doing a lot of things right, or they're doing a lot of unique things that's going to help other loot games succeed in the future.
Oh yeah, it's like you can't just expect like the same things to work all the time. Like
yeah,
it's not going to feel new or fresh. So yeah, any uniqueness or differences are usually a good thing to look at.
And I think people have to begin looking at it that way too, is saying, I understand people have reservations with live service games, or even just saying there's too many games of one type in the space. Like look at the battle royale genre.
Right.
There's so many new games coming out. So you had PUBG for the long. Well, you had H1Z1 and Arma 3 mod, PUBG, Fortnite, Apex, Realm Royale, all these different games that are coming
Tetris
out. Yeah, right.
Tetris 99.
Big plays, man. But what each can learn from each other is going to make the next one better. The next iteration better for each other. And we have to look at it the same way with loot games. That even if you don't like Anthem, but you love Destiny, you have to say, hey, what can this do to make Destiny better?
Right.
I mean, on top of the fact that this has dedicated servers, almost every other loot game doesn't have that.
Nope. And that's like the number one requested thing usually.
Coming up. But you're seeing the issues because of it. You're seeing the issues because of it. I think being a fan, like we can't sit here and fanboy and say that there's nothing wrong with the game because then we'd be really ruining the experience for ourselves and other people.
Right.
You could say like, hey, this is everything they've done good. I think like personally, I've had a 95% experience with everything, like 95% good. But you have to be critical of the things that have gone wrong, and I think we've done that in a good and critical manner. That they're taking our feedback in stride, and we're going to get the best possible experience faster than most other games of the similar vein.
Oh yeah, I would agree. Like just seeing that, and I think we talked about this yesterday with Anthem Insider Edema, like just the ability to give so much feedback that like they're like hungry for this feedback.
Yep.
And are able to, I think, amazingly and surprisingly quickly iterate on that and just be like, hey, we fixed it. Here you go. You know, like that. This is unreal. Like this is a great situation to be in, kind of like even if it's kind of weird to say that. Yeah, the game's not perfect, but nothing ever is perfect. But they're willing to make it better. Like just keep being, don't wear the rose colored glasses. Just like find the things that aren't working and tell them.
Yeah, I think that would really behoove us if we did that.
And not just that, but tell them things that you want. Like the whole social space exists now because that's something
of people's feedback
wanted. Like
right.
Yep.
People want like some sort of photo mode too. Like just because the built-in functionality is not amazing.
Right.
And then they added the what was that thing? They're going to be adding legendary missions into the game. That was a huge feedback that people had because a lot of other games have similar things.
Right.
Give us a way to level up, replay the older content at higher levels or with greater difficulty and reward us accordingly. I think that's the biggest thing is being rewarded accordingly.
Right. It's like I'm willing to do it. Just make sure that I have that almost like that carrot we're gonna follow.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, why am I doing this?
Yeah. So
It's like,
with trying to avoid spoilers, do you have a favorite moment in Anthem so far?
Favorite. It's I think the middle of the game. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. The middle of the game was a great twist. It was kind of, looking back on it now, it's a little expected because it's BioWare, but I think it was a really great critical moment in the game that said like, hey, my feelings are really hurt now because I drew this camaraderie and now I
Right.
feel otherwise. I don't want to go
right.
any farther than that because I think it would just make things really
Right.
bad for people who haven't gotten to that point.
Right. But it's like that moment of, you use my conclusions against me.
Exactly.
Damn you.
But that's it. That's a BioWare trope, something we've already seen in the past.
Cool.
But it was my favorite part of the entire game. Like at that point in the early goings of it, and having a completely different view when you complete the critical path. Like,
oh, okay, sweet. Ademo, what about you, man?
I would have to actually say, like, I don't know if it's a particular moment, but just NPC interaction in general is done pretty well. I would give it like an 8 out of 10. But like, I wish there was more, like, continuing beyond.
Just keep it going. Just more and more.
Yeah, like that's one thing that they did really well in Mass Effect was, like, you could have small talk with these nobodies.
Right. Well, it's like, I feel like that's one of the moments like I found interesting for myself, was just like, did I really just have conversations with two different people about grains and bakeries?
Yep.
Like, did I? And I was kind of happy about it. Like, all right, cool. Like, let's keep those kind of interactions going. Or like, I refer to them as Space OSHA, but like, are these walkways clear enough? How would you like to fix that pond? Just like, oh yeah.
And then you have your faux Conrad Werner. The it's like, immediately it reminded me of him, and I wanted to.
So yeah, I think I'm with you on that one, Adema. Like, those interactions so far have been amazing.
Yeah, my favorite individual character, like, I don't want to spoil anything, but like, my very first interaction with her, when I told her to go out and do something, I was like, oh please God, please say I didn't kill her cousin.
Right. Yeah, like, anytime there's like a twist like that in any BioWare game, I'm just like, should I just save it here and come back later? Because yeah, we're about to make some bad mistakes for these folks, guys. So I know we actually kind of hit on it a little bit already, I think, with some of the impressions, and then touched it maybe a little bit when you said maybe 90 days maybe is a little bit of a stretch for kind of plotting things. But what were your initial impressions about seeing that roadmap?
Extremely positive. I think that was one of the downsides to a lot of the other live service games, that you didn't have a roadmap, and it kind of left you like hanging. Like, I like this game. There's a bunch of stuff to do right now, but what am I going to do in a month?
Right.
And having the roadmap, like you said before, it gives you that the carrot to dangle out in front, and having that up front lets you know, like, hey, it's coming. Like, that's my perspective. A lot of people like look at this and say, hey, this is all content you cut from the game. If you already have this planned out, which is, it's annoying, it's frustrating.
Yes,
it's
is.
It's an old it's an old storyline at this point. But I think it's positive to see that, because it lets you know that they're working on other things, and then the second that those things are finished, they're going to be working on the next iteration of more stuff. I think it's great that they're calling everything acts instead of seasons or time frames. Like, they're using specifically using the word acts, as it's a play, it's a show, it's a concert. It plays well to the theme of Anthem. So everything has been audio references. So Anthem, Echoes, all those sort of things.
Right.
So Axe really plays well to that particular ideology as well.
Right. See, the curtain will raise on Act 1. It's like
Yeah.
it has a nice feel to it.
I agree. I agree, and I think it's good that they put all of the repeat content in it too. So it's like, we're currently working on There Be Giants right now,
right?
And they're giving you the heads up that it's going to come back. So if you don't have the time to jump in, or you feel like you're underpowered to deal with the Titans right now, don't worry, because in a few weeks you're going to get it again, so you can go out and get that vinyl. Or maybe we'll have new vinyls for that particular thing. So I think that was a really positive thing to say. Hey, look, like this is the event now, and you're going to get it again, because there's other games like Warframe specifically where you have timed events and they don't tell you when they're going to come back. They kind of just say, hey, we're going to turn it on now. It's going to be available for the next 3 weeks, which can be frustrating for trying to plan your life out, or as a content creator, try to plan your content schedule out.
Right. Demon, you sound like you had something there a second ago?
No, I think he covered it. I think I was just going to make a comment to the There Be Giants, which is going on right now. Like, it's going to end today, I think pretty early. But so even if you miss it, the point is you can get it later on down the road.
Right. So what you're telling me is I should not participate in my chores tonight and just do There Will Be Giants. So that's what I'm hearing. Get it in right now.
Or
cool.
Even if you can't, like,
right, it's coming again. So nothing to worry about there. But yeah, I'm kind of happy about seeing that roadmap as well. Like, part of me was always just like, I just need to know. Like, there's a question mark. Like, there's kind of like, oh, it's redacted. We don't know what's here yet. I'm like, I just have to hang on then. It's like, just keep hanging on until we find out what it is. Like, that's enough. That's enough for me to be like, hey, BioWare said they're going to do something new in this game. I'm like, you don't have to say anything more. Just tell me when. Yeah,
exactly. Just
I'll show up. I'll be there.
Yeah, and speaking to live events in general, I mean, sometimes they're a hit, sometimes they're a miss. Like, I didn't even know that the Outlaw event was going on, even though someone had told me. Like, it's not like there was a really good indicator. And then, like, There Be Giants is interesting. It's a good start for an event. And then, like, it's just a matter of tweaking these things and finding a good fit for them, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Because even in Destiny, the Queen never returned.
Oh yeah.
Like that event, and then they integrated it in. I don't know when they actually did, but you could actually still earn the gear just like 2 years later.
Right.
Rise of Fire.
Queen's Wrath. Yeah, they did it.
Yeah, Queen's Wrath. Yeah,
they did it the first week the game was launched, and then didn't do it again until 2.5 years later.
I was so sad for 2 years. I was like,
well, you know what's funny is that ship was the rarest ship in the game, because you can only get it that 1 week. And my friend, who hadn't played the game past the first week, had it.
Yeah,
so here I am, like, chasing everything there is in the game, and that was one thing that I couldn't get that my friend had that I saw drop.
I think I still have my helmet from that. I was like, guys, I can't get rid of that. I'm like, why do you still have that? You know why?
I kept the sniper for forever.
Her Fury.
Yep.
And that's the thing, is that, like, I think Anthem needs more things like that, where vinyls are cool. I'm not saying that they're not, but give us gear and weapons. That's what we really want.
Right.
I love the fashion aspect of looter shooter games, and I think that's something that Borderlands 3 needs to work on a lot, because it didn't have great cosmetic issues, cosmetic things.
Right.
It's something that Destiny and Warframe do very, very good. It's something that Anthem is beginning to do very good. Anthem needs to give us weapons. If you're going to give a timed event, give us a real reason to chase after something that's going to increase our gear score, and give us a new, unique way to play the game.
Right. Yeah, something besides just like, because I feel like a vinyl, because I was notorious, whether it be Destiny, even when I did it with Halo, for anything else, it's just like changing gear in my look like all the time. Like I have never really always had that one piece of gear. I'm like, yeah, I'm only gonna wear that thing. But if it was like you told me, like I'm walking around with a piece of a an Ash Titan as part of my armor, I'd probably do it.
Yep.
You know, like a weapon crafted out of part of it. Yeah, we'll probably rock that.
I think that's also something they need to take into consideration is how important each event is, you know, and making things important like that. And exactly, I want to, if I kill something, I want to show everyone that I did. Give me pieces of it to put on my armor so I can use it as a you know, a medal of honor.
Right. Oh, that'd be awesome. Just like, hey, is he carrying around the head of an Ash Titan?
Exactly.
Yes, he is.
Exactly. Give me that. But I mean, we may get that in the future. We don't know.
Yeah.
They got to take our feedback and put it into place now. I think enough people have made a claim for it that they can take that and run with it.
Oh yeah. Like I'm almost tempted to just kind of scroll the boards of like, hey, what have I found like my recommend? Oh look, yep, it's in there. Like other people are thinking the same thing I am, but like more of it just reinforces that point. So like don't fear that, you guys. Are like, well, somebody's already made my point. One more is not going to hurt.
Oh yeah. I think people need to, like, and to see how active they are on Reddit and stuff like that. As much as I don't like Reddit,
right,
it's becoming a great tool for people to voice opinion constructively, please. Like, let's not just blindly throw things out there because it's gonna get deleted by the by the mods like right away,
right,
with good reason. But be constructive in your critique and criticism, and you know, it will go heard.
Yeah, and speaking to weapons in general, I understand that like some guns are a hit and some guns are a miss, but like some of them do feel far too weak. Like there's I'm trying to remember the name of it, but you can stack up to 20 times bonus for elemental damage. It increases your elemental damage an additional 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And but the gun hits like, I don't know, like a little pea shooter. Like, but like the perk is wonderful. So it's just
so it's like
finding that
force
niche
yourself to use it.
balance.
Yeah.
It's like,
I understand that 100%. Someone in my squad was running that this morning, and actually speaking very highly of it because of how beneficial the benefit is as opposed to how bad the gun is itself. But I agree with you 100%. Like, I don't want to necessarily be using a grenade launcher that you know, can potentially wipe all status effects, but if it helps the team in an Ash Titan fight, it works.
Right. Just like maybe have those pieces of gear where it's just like, well, it's not my preference, but if it'll help the team, like, I'll hold on to it.
Too many things like that.
Yeah. So less of that, just more powerful guns.
So how has the co-op experience been for you in general?
For me, mostly good. I mean, I usually play with a group of you know, 4 to 6 players. Like, you know, obviously we are primarily a Destiny clan. So that's where we kind of have all banded together. It just actually works out now that a lot of people just have like life you know, priorities that they gotta handle at the moment, that it's usually around 4 now. So but the connectivity issues withstanding, everything's been pretty good. Because like every so often, you know, someone will get dropped from the squad because you have an issue with connectivity or something like that. But as a whole, it's actually been pretty good.
Cool. Like I feel like it's kind of been the same here, even if like I'm kind of like piecemealing like within my own community where it's like, well, I'll get it on PC eventually, guys. Some of you have it on console. Okay, I'll run with you on console. So it's maybe sometimes 2 to 3 of us, and we'll pull in that random to like who will fill out the squad missions and whatnot. And even then, I feel like it's okay. Like everybody is trying to just complete the mission. I haven't had anybody that's just like flying around in circles or, you know, doing anything super weird, you know. Just like, no, they want to complete it, you know.
I'll tell you one thing I did see on PC is that people are AFKing through some of the end mission. So
no.
there's a mission at the end. Like, it's not too spoilery. Okay. So there's a mission at the end where you got to do X amount of activities to complete the path of valor. I forget, something of valor they called it at the end. And one of them was to do quick play missions, and people are launching into quick play and then going AFK, because obviously it's going to take you 15 minutes or so to do that, and I can go make a sandwich in 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So people are doing that. I did see that on PC a little bit, and a little bit today on Xbox. Hopefully this isn't just not the way it's going to be moving forward, because that would be ultimately frustrating. But or give us a vote to kick.
Right.
And I know they don't. I know they don't want to do it, but giving a vote to kick would be a good thing for instances like that. And had we known up front that they would put something like that in the game, then we might have been a little bit more vocal about putting something like that into the game earlier.
Right. And then while we do that, can I have your like 15-minute sandwich recipe? Because like, man, I feel like I throw sandwiches together way faster than that.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I can make it eat in 15 minutes.
Okay, fair. That's fair.
Because I mean, I don't want to be the guy in the squad with a mouthful of food, even though I do it all the time.
It's like it's accepted by some people, not by all.
That's why there's push to talk.
Yeah.
So we don't have push to talk on Xbox.
Yeah. That's the downside. It's either complete silence or everything.
It's already bad enough we don't have enough buttons. You know, I would love to plug a keyboard and mouse in natively on Xbox and be able to use that, but I think we're a little bit away from that on all games, because I mean, it's available on some. You know, like Warframe, it's available. Fortnite's available, but
right. And now that actually brings up questions. Didn't Microsoft just enable the ability to use keyboard and mouse plugged into the?
Yeah, I mean, you could use it on anything. It's just the functionality is on the developer.
Gotcha.
So like, if something comes up where you have to type and you have your keyboard plugged in, you can type with your fully functioning keyboard, no problem. It's just whether it's going to work in the game itself. They have to just basically enable it.
Cool.
Which I use a gamepad, so I'll show you. Like, I use one of these because it's just
nice.
So I can't WASD, so I use the thumbstick here instead of that. So my sprinting is S and my jump is D. So which throws a lot of people off.
Yeah, I could see that being slightly problematic.
People see like my menu and it'll say, why does it say hit D to jump? But it's been an easier transition. Like, I only picked up mouse and keyboard about a year ago, and it's a lot more fun. But this thing, Xbox functionality with mouse and keyboard is to the actual keyboard itself. So the Windows button is the Xbox button. So if you're trying to open a menu or something like that and you try to plug this thing in, it just doesn't do enough of what you need to do. Plus the fact it's not fully mappable, so I have the space bar be the escape key usually. Because I don't use it for jump.
Right.
And I can't, the mapping doesn't work because Synapse is available on Xbox, but only for the Wolverine controller.
Oh, okay. So just specific to that
controller. Yeah. Okay. Like, this is just me knowing too much or learning too much. Like, if
I just learned some stuff here. This is cool.
I was really curious because like I was going through something else. I forget even why I looked at it, but I saw Synapse was on there, and Synapse is like the program for all of the stuff on PC. So you have Synapse 2 for older stuff, and Synapse 3 for the more newer stuff, the more newer Chroma Razer products, and I was kind of hoping that it would be in there, but they have the new there's a new mouse and keyboard set up for Xbox. It's called the Turret, and it's a keyboard lap board with a wireless. I think it's like a lance head or a Mamba mouse. It's actually pretty nice for a little setup like that, and you can just play mouse and keyboard on your couch.
Nice. There you
go. So I mean, hopefully they can add full functionality to Xbox. That would be really awesome. Nice. And I know Xbox is always on board for things like that. So if they need Xbox's support to do that, like Phil Spencer wants all barriers taken down. You know, I think that's the best part about it. I mean, he's the guy that will say like, let's make crossplay happen. Like he'll go talk to Sony for BioWare and say, hey, look, like they want to do this. Let's make it happen.
Like please just let it happen.
Yeah. So I mean that's really positive. To the detriment at this point of Microsoft's first party software, which is really a shame at this point. You know, they're so worried about crossplay that they're not worried about their own games, and it's trouble.
Right. So you gotta back up a little bit.
That's a whole other episode, though.
But at the same time, I think Microsoft is working on building that framework towards better supporting that. Like they're buying game studios. They're trying to get exclusive titles from other famous studios. and things along those lines. So actually,
it's like, hey,
next
you make the
generation,
cool game.
they have something more worthwhile.
Right. Well, we'll see, because I'm still looking forward to having Sea of Thieves on my Game Pass on my Switch. So we'll see what happens.
Hey, it's a realistic possibility. I mean, the game isn't that. I don't think it's that graphically demanding that it couldn't happen. So
right. So kind of diving back in towards Anthem. It's been wow. I almost said it's been 1 week. That was going to be a bad meme. It's been roughly a week for early access and 3 days. 3 days if you're on console. And I try to always temper like my feelings of I want more, because it's only been 3 days. But is there anything that you're hoping for that you maybe haven't seen on the roadmap?
Like I said, I would love to see more unique stuff. Or at least their intentions to do it. We've already seen it with the first event, or the first like well-known event. There be giants, but weapons for sure. More armor. I want to see more armor pieces, because I feel like the cosmetics right now are just not where they could be.
Right.
I don't want to say should, because I'm not the designer. I don't know what their intentions are up front.
Mm-hmm.
So just always more. I know it sounds really entitled, but
right.
More is never a bad thing in a loot game.
Right. Yeah. It's like more content is good stuff. So it's like more of, just more. I agree. I totally agree. Like it doesn't, I don't think that, that doesn't speak to me as being entitled. It's just more of like, I just think it's cool and I want more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody's ever given ice cream and saying, I don't want more.
That's definitely true. But I mean, like, I think everything is good right now, and we have to like fully digest the content before we can really gauge what we want more of.
Right.
It's hard to really make that determination right now, seeing that we only have a small sample size of everything that they've given us so far.
Yeah, and continuing on the whole loot grind mechanism, like there be giants gives you an exclusive vinyl. Do you like the idea that specific activities give you specific types of loot? Like,
I love it actually.
Okay. That answers that.
I think that's what was like the biggest driving thing in Destiny for a long time.
Right. I would agree with that.
Warframe is the same way. Certain bosses in Diablo and Borderlands do the same thing. It's very characteristic of a loot style game, So while I can understand, I understand where you're going. Is that it can be frustrating for people that can't get in all the time or specific days, but it's what drives the studio to have time, to get people to come back. Timed exclusives are the bread and butter for these types of games for live service, and it's something that I think they need to do more of moving forward to keep the player base coming back. So even if like your hardcore players play every single day, or 3 times a week, say, your casual audience has to come back at least once a month. So if you don't give them a reason to come back once a month, then you're doing something wrong.
Right. And I feel like kind of part of the conversation that we had yesterday too, Dima. I feel like it's can be tied in with like the idea of the exclusive loot can be if you go through exclusive event X and don't have some crazy cool story and then something to show for it, like your excitement for doing crazy grind X or event X will get probably your casual friends or other hardcore friends excited to do this thing. Like you're gonna have more people who want to come and do this thing. Like being like, how did that guy get that? That is like a huge driving force for this type of game.
Yeah, and they need more of that in general, I think the stronghold chess, like the Elysian chess or whatever, is a good concept. But like I think beyond that, they need to be almost to a certain degree tailored for each stronghold that way. Like, so I beat this on Grandmaster 3 and I got this rare thing, kind of deal, where like it doesn't even have to be a matter of the specific difficulty level, I mean, it increases odds just like anything else, but something to say, I did this specific stronghold or this specific, or I did this number of legendary contracts and then I finally got this kind of deal.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything to, I don't want to say like bragging rights, but it's like almost like a list of accomplishments. Like, how can you air like your creds almost?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, these are my freelancer creds. These are the things I have done, and look, here it is.
Yeah. And speaking to that, like the titles being added in Destiny 2 is one of the best things added to that game. I mean,
I think that was
MMOs
one of the coolest
have been
things.
doing that for forever, almost.
Yep.
It feels like, but like seeing that in a like actually unlocking it and then putting it on, like you are dredging.
Right.
Yeah, I think the banners in Anthem right now are a missed opportunity because you don't really see them.
Right.
You know,
You
and that's something that can be drastically improved on moving forward. And I hope that they don't become the unique rewards.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. That is a good point. I didn't think about that.
Or at least they have to be expanded upon, because like honestly, if you're playing with random people, because that's what it is, you're not necessarily always bragging to your friends, you're bragging to the random people out there.
Right.
And that's what the design of the launch bay was for.
Right.
Now, if you have those things only for when your friends are, when you're waiting in a squad with your friends, who cares?
What's the point? Yeah. It's going to be like every time you're like, would you stop switching what your thing looks like? You know, that's what it's going to turn into. Like, instead of like, hey, look at that cool thing.
You're not wrong, man.
No, I was that guy that would constantly switch his banners.
I'm a switcher of shaders. Like I do that.
It's like, well, like it got harder to do. That was the sad part. It was like, hey, weren't you just Chatterwhite? No, I'm putting on tiger stripes. You sure you weren't watermelon? Yes, I'm sure.
I was watermelon.
Yeah, watermelon is a good underrated shader, I feel.
It is if you like green and pink or red.
Right? I'm not going to say tortured the whole stream by going watermelon, but I did.
I was like, my mod told me to make a Barbie pink Colossus the other night, and we ran with it, and people really liked it.
Nice.
Twitter loved it. But it was like the fun of it, you know. Like I think that's like a lot of what's going to happen with this game is that people are going to do just silly things like that. And
right.
Yeah.
Oh man, is it fun?
Yeah. One time I went out running as a storm with like, I don't know, it was almost random colors, like just.
It's like, and that could be fun too.
I picked one of the thing where like you could do 2 shades per piece, and I did just completely random, made sure that it wasn't a duplicate at least.
Right. See, I can't wait till like Christmas time comes around. We're gonna have like ugly javelin sweaters.
I hope so. I hope so.
Awesome.
See, those are the types of things they got to do. It'll make you want to play the game more.
Right. Just like, cause like, what's like I'm so bad about calendars and stuff. I don't like. What's our next big holiday that you could like do something like that for? Just like decorate the hell out of your javelin. Like that'd be kind of fun. Like that's the kind of stuff that the communities want to do.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe Easter. Have a big grab it on your chest.
Well, that
I would do it. I would do it.
I think that's gonna happen.
A grab it egg hunt. I mean, like if anybody's terrified of grabbits, that would be, I think, slightly more terrifying. Oh, they're eggs now. Oh,
I don't think anyone's necessarily terrified of rabbits, but they're disturbing for sure. I think that really goes without saying at this point.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of like with Sev on this one. Just like grab it or scorpion. I'll take the grab it.
That's fair. That's fair.
So, what other types of changes would you like to see to, like, taking the game as it is now? What changes would you like to see to make this experience more dynamic? I guess you could say.
More dynamic. Mm-hmm. Fluidity. Like there needs some fluidity in the game. Like the load screens aren't the worst thing I've ever seen. But it breaks immersion a little bit, you know, and I can't deny that to some people. So fixing those things would definitely be a step in the right direction. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like just be able to easily navigate through one experience to the other without something like a speed bump, so to speak. Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, because like when you said it, I kind of agree. Like that kind of same feeling about it's like it doesn't bother me, but it's there.
Yeah. But other than that, like it's really hard to gauge right now because we don't have everything that we were told we were gonna have right now. Like we don't have cataclysms. There's going to be more strongholds. So until we have all of those things in place, it's really hard to gauge what we want more of.
Right.
So personally, for me, I think I'd like to see. I don't know. Maybe the stronghold experience changed, where you can actually maybe see like the scars are fighting an Ursix this time, or the scars are fighting a bunch of Dominion troopers.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're trying to take the weapons and the tyrant mine from them, and like I would doing the exact same, like, oh, just a bunch of scars all over and scorpions all over again isn't that great.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I will agree with that.
Yeah, like the more variety in those kind of encounters is always good. Like I have a feeling it's going to wear on me, and I'm trying to break my habit of always doing the comparison, but like Destiny,
it's there though, you know. Like,
yeah, it's there. Like to me, like, and it's actually this is kind of like a twofold for sorry Bungie. Like I love you guys, but I got sick of the flood.
Yep.
And now I'm sick of the hive. Like I don't want to also become sick of like the scar or the scorpions, or you know, just like if there's some way for it to be variety, any kind of variety, where it's just like a champion. Oh, sweet, those two people are fighting each other as well as me. Cool. Like
I think that's a valid concern.
Like that is good.
Honestly.
Yeah.
So
if anyone says that it's not, it's just, you know,
well, have fun with your vanilla ice cream.
Lying to themselves, honestly.
And that was the nice thing about the legendary contracts is like, or just contracts in general, is like it is randomized to a degree. Like you're doing one task and then another and then another, and
yep,
you might be fighting Scar all the way through, or it could be a mix of all sorts of stuff.
Right. Yeah. As you say that, I just think about that. Yeah, one of the last contracts I had started. Hey, that's a lot of scorpion. Hey, those are scars. Okay, cool. I like this. You know, this is good.
So I mean, they've already thought of this. It's just a matter of implementing them in other stuff.
Right. Just more. Like the word of the day is more.
and I think you'll notice a theme moving forward that it will always be the theme in a game like this is like more, and it's not like it's I always want to just preface everything with saying it's not a sense of entitlement, because we only get as much as they give. Like we can't say, you know, my $60 gets me X amount of stuff and I'm going to demand it until I get it.
Right.
The developers are the ones that are really in charge of those particular things.
Right.
But we're always going to want it. We're always going to want it. And it's not from a place of saying like, I deserve more. It's just, it's a crave. It's like, I want to see more.
Right. See, you sound like me, like when it's like, hey, it's Tuesday, I want tacos, but I also want more of them. Yeah. Like,
yep. Never too many tacos, man.
Right. So we've kind of been hitting the subject hard, like we kind of beat it like a dead horse, but being 3 days in and knowing that we haven't had that full breadth of content to consume or maybe process yet, as far as new things that could already be happening that we just don't know about yet, would you want to see like new support abilities for javelins,
Absolutely.
new weapons, or ability to change like the type of melee you have?
See that those aren't things I necessarily worry about.
Okay.
More support abilities, absolutely. I think like because I've been only playing Colossus. I've only played Colossus since launch.
Right.
It's both Xbox and PC. Battlecry and Shield Pulse haven't shown enough benefit to really say like I want to use this all the time.
Gotcha.
So that's definitely something I would like to see. And I haven't had all of the masterwork weapons in my hand yet to really say we need something else. But I do want to see the missing elements filled in on all the javelins.
Gotcha.
So like Interceptor doesn't have fire.
Right.
Colossus doesn't have ice. Ranger doesn't have a real ability with electric. And Storm doesn't have acid. So I would like to see those added in eventually.
Right.
But I'm not in desperate need of it now. I think it would be a really bad move to not put it in ever. But
right.
I would like to see it sooner rather than later.
Right.
The whole conversation about different ultimates, I'm not concerned with that, to be completely honest. If we get it, we get it. If we don't, we don't. That's kind of where I sit with it.
Cool.
That's really about it. That's really about it. Like, I haven't consumed enough of it yet. Like, I've put in 30 or so hours on PC and closing into the same thing on Xbox. So over the course of the last week, it's been about 50 to 60 hours of Anthem. So I don't know. Yeah. It's really hard to make that call right now. Like, what more we could want to see, because there's a lot in the game. More variety in the weapons, yes, definitely. I think more variety in design, but we talked about that before with some of like the uniqueness of it. Give us so the Cataclysm. So say if like your Cataclysm is Scar based or something like that, give us some Scar type weapons.
Right.
For sure.
Or something of that nature. Even I'm sure we're going to see things that are not in the game right now with these Cataclysms.
Right.
You know, and those are the types of things that they were waiting for. I'm not going to talk about the last cutscene in the game either, because I think that's a huge future story implication as well.
Sweet. Yeah. See, like it's like more memorable ways, you know, to enjoy, or reasons why like you keep going. Like, hey, remember that one time we did that Cataclysm thing and we got this? You know, it's like that's always, it's like that ability to tell the story of what you just did. Like, it's funny to like talk to anybody like doesn't really play games, which like is getting smaller every day, I feel like. But like when you're like, what would you do? And you like we entail of like, oh, I did this thing and I did like killed this monster and it was like raining acid and like those kind of things. Like those are like why we want to have those unique things. It's like it's not just I got the loot and I left. It was like
it's a story.
That
it's
whole,
a story like, I still remember my first time getting Black Spindle. You know, the first time that I got the Yaller Horn. Like doing this Titan event. We dragged our buddy who was a level 5 through hard. You know, and like he just kept dying. And the story of it is, and I will never forget this now, is that he kept dying in the ruin fight because he was underpowered and he couldn't get the loot. Like, so he kept missing the activation of the completion of the challenge.
Oh man.
So we had to do ruin 4 or 5 times just for him.
Yeah.
Right.
I missed one. I died once. So on doing mine, we did it. So then we went back and did all the other ones with another one of our clanmates. So that's an experience that we're always going to have now, and a conversation that, you know, a year, you know, a month, a year, 2 years down the line, we're going to be able to have about Anthem at launch, you know, because this is the first event. This is the first thing that we've seen.
Right. And the seals the deal, man. That's what makes this amazing.
100%.
Those memories do a good deal, like standing out. Like I remember my first time carrying, like I have a 7-year-old clanmate in Destiny, and carrying him through Black Spindle, like it's something I won't forget.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh man, I remember like being like a person who was like never good at raids ever, and then one day I had somebody random like, I've never done Vault of Glass. I was like, chat, we're stopping everything we're doing right now. We're getting this person through Vault of Glass. Like, it doesn't matter what we're doing today. We're getting through Vault of Glass. Like, and like, yeah, it's like one of those things that just sticks with you. It's like, do you remember when? Like, those are going to be the amazing parts, I think, that we're going to have with Anthem. Like, certainly, like we mentioned earlier, don't stop suggesting things. You know, if you have ideas, people want to hear them. You know, If you think this could change the game for the better, sure. If you think something currently isn't working very well, say so. Just remember, as always, though, just don't be rude about it. like just find a way to be constructive about it. Like go to Twitter, go to Reddit, go to the forums, because we're all helping each other by coming up with these ideas and ways that we think this game that we're all obviously passionate about, because we're all here.
Yep.
And we want this to be an amazing experience for everybody.
100%.
So to sum it up, if there was like, say, a top 5 things you want to see, this is probably for everyone. Like, what would they be?
Ooh.
Top 5 for me is more loot, and I'll tie that into unique loot. More story. Like, I'm not saying that there wasn't a lot. I just want to see more of it, because I think they left a lot of enough loose ends where you're like, well, what happened with that guy and that guy and that guy? So those more of the story, more loot. That's the 2 things so far. The clan and guild system, I need to see that very soon. 4 and 5. More javelins. I do want to see that. I can't even think of a 5th because it's tough. I mean, I was pretty quick with 4.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's good.
Well, that's a good thing.
4. I like that.
It's good. It's good and bad, because like I've been thinking about this a long. This is 2 years into this moment of saying, like, you form your opinion about the game like so far in advance, and then you say, like, okay, when it's not having these things, what are we gonna want to put into it later?
Right.
Crossplay, number 5.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Your number 5 is my number 1. As a person who's always found a way to strand themselves on one platform or another.
I'm not in any particular order. That's not in any particular order. That's
okay.
Just in general a 5. So
okay,
I mean, crossplay might sit a little higher. It actually might sit higher than the more story than for me. But
yeah, I'd say like just like no particular order either. I'd say definitely the cross-platform. I agree on that one. I'd say I want, as like this is going to come out wrong, but more ways to brag or show accolades.
Yeah.
The unique armor or loot from events.
At the very least, cross save.
Yes.
Yeah, at the very least, I agree with that.
Yeah. You mean you don't want to run this another like billion times?
I honestly got lost of where I was. Like, I remember, like, I'm finishing a lot of stuff on Xbox right now. I finished a Critical Path last night, so I'm getting through the last couple bits of like agent quests and stuff like that.
Right.
So I'm like, I thought I did this already. And then that's the other thing I want to see, is that if you're in a squad, I want to know whose mission is whose. Because if you get into a squad, you see all of them, but you don't know if you finished one or if they finished one, and you can't go to your quest box once you're in in your javelin already. Like, so there's some little things that are bothering me about the game, but nothing that's going to take me away from the experience as a whole.
Yeah, and I was going to agree with that, because like I literally we had at least one mission we had to run twice for somebody the other night, and then came back like, oh, I don't think I've done this one yet. Cool, we did it. And I came back, sat on my couch, like, I swear I did this for myself a day ago. Oh wait, that was somebody else's. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I'm doing it for me now. This is me time, I guess. Like, yeah, being able to know whose it is would be great.
Yeah, that was the weird thing. So during one of the agent quest lines, I did the quest like with a friend, and then after that I went and talked to Yarrow, and then redid the same quest like again. and then I could get to the next part. Like, it was like a really weird experience.
Right, it's deja vu, Anthem style,
all over again.
Yeah, and then to finish off the last 2, see the map grow. I think would be really cool.
Yeah.
And then, like, beyond more loot, further diversity of abilities. Like, I want to see, like, I don't know, at least 10 support abilities. Like, and that's going to be the minimum of any ability group.
I think that's a good like starting point. Like, I think everyone should have like a defensive ability, a support ability, a heal ability.
Right.
And then so whether support is cooling down or buffing damage, like you gotta see either one, because I think if they can make the top end so much higher than what it is right now, you're gonna want to see a buffing ability on almost everybody, because you're gonna see people want to try to do the speed runs and really just get that buff in there, like get every buff possible.
Right. You're just gonna need to be powerful enough, and you can't just be like, well, let's play it defensive. No, that's not gonna work fast.
Have to use 3 rangers. Like you can buff those muster points up pretty well, or targeting beacon on the interceptor. But I mean, as a Colossus, it's tough. Like your support abilities aren't great.
Right. So like diversifying that would definitely help. So
yeah, storm too. I mean, half the time here, so high up in the air, like wind wall can be completely worthless to you.
Yep.
Like I don't even use it most of the time. And then the other ability with the cooldown of skills doesn't feel like it does it anywhere near as fast as it should.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I'm gonna get shot in my interceptor. I see. No more wind wall. All right, that's fine. That's fine. I'll hide behind Lupo, I guess.
I got a shield for that.
Yeah,
and they fixed that. So that's been the best thing about this last patch was the healing with the shield out and being able to sprint with the lightning coil.
Right. Oh man, wrecking machine.
Yep.
Well, Lupo, thank you very much for sitting and having this awesome conversation with us, man.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Before we close out the episode, where can our watchers and listeners find you and your community?
I can be found anywhere on the internet, Instagram, Twitter, at Lupo to the Rescue. YouTube is Lupo to the Rescue, and discord.me/Lupo to the Rescue.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, man.
Thanks for having me.
And Demi, want to pull this one?
If you would like to check out Fortresses Radio, we are on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and as Fortresses Radio. And then Instagram, we are FT Radio.
Yep. And then for just the listening type, you will find us most places you can find your podcasts. So that's like Google, iTunes, I think just about everything else. Like that's a long list, but you'll find us just for Tarsis Radio. And thanks again, everybody. I'm your co-host, Dorcius, and Interceptor Pilot. You guys can usually find me on Twitter at Dorcius or over streaming on Mixer at mixer.com/Dorcius.
And I am Adema360, your popular store main. And I will occasionally be streaming on Mixer as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, everybody.
Yeah. Have a good day. Oh, let's end it with the stupid selfie.
The stupid selfie. Oh, but I already have a stupid face. Yeah, yeah. Just
okay.
Nice.
All right. Have a good one.